everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Nina. I'm a life transformation coach, and today's video is inspired by a quote that I recently came across again that I just think is so powerful and so true and very relatable to personal development. So this is a quote by Hippocrates, who was a Greek physician of the classical period, but again, what he had to say is just so relatable to today. And the quote simply is, "Before you heal someone, ask him if he is willing to give up the things that make him sick." And I think this is so incredibly profound because as human beings, maybe without realizing it a lot of times, we desperately hold on to the very things that make us sick or cause us suffering so often. And maybe sometimes we try to, layer some type of wellness practices over our sickness. Or we try to hold on to our negative habits, but maybe we try to create some positive habits to try to balance that out. But too often we do not get to the root of the issue. And there can just be so many reasons why we might do this. We may feel that we don't want to change, or we may feel that we're not ready to change, or we may have grown an attachment to our habits or behaviors, or feel that they are part of our identity. It can be very hard to separate these things, which makes it kind of hard to walk away from. And we have to understand that our behaviors and our habits, even when they are negative, even when they are not serving us at all, we believe on some level they are serving us. We are clinging to them for a reason, and it could just be comfort. It could just be that it feels safe or familiar, but we do feel that we are getting something from them, which makes it kind of scary for us to let them go. And I want to specify that today we're really talking about wellness of our mind, body, and soul. So when we are talking about our body, it's probably the easiest thing, because the habits that can create sickness or suffering that have to do with our bodies are usually very, very obvious. Maybe it's, drinking too much. Maybe it is not getting enough sleep. Maybe it is eating too much. But we can see that, if we change these things, if we're willing to give these things up, we could probably feel a lot better. But of course, our health really is comprised of so many more aspects than just our physical health. So we have our emotional well-being and our mental health as well. And there are just so many things that we do, either consciously or subconsciously, that really can make us sick and cause us suffering. These habits could include blaming, complaining, holding on to resentment, judging other people, being pessimistic, perfectionism, holding on to the past, holding on to guilt, catastrophizing, and assuming the worst all the time. Any or all of these things can quite literally make us sick. They can make us more prone to depression, more prone to anxiety or high stress levels. They can make us feel hopeless. They can make us lose our motivation. And that is why it's so important that we not only take this seriously, but we realize how much we can affect these outcomes. But the good news is all of these things are completely transformable. They are completely changeable if we are willing to change them and willing to do the work. So that goes right back to that original quote of, are we willing to give up the things that make us sick? And when we think about making changes and we start to feel, or we start to notice that we are feeling resistance, we have to stop and ask ourselves why. What are we gaining, or what do we think we are gaining by holding on to these behaviors? So for example, if we are holding on to pessimism, let's say, is it because we are secretly afraid that if we are optimistic, that we aren't going to be protected when bad things happen? We're not going to be ready for them. Maybe we just feel that if we are always looking over our shoulders or always waiting for the other shoe to drop, we're going to be better prepared for negative events. So that's something that we could think about. Or maybe let's say something that we need to change is that we are always living in the past. Maybe it's secretly because we are scared that if we move our focus to the present moment, we're going to lose those memories. And maybe we are also secretly afraid that the future is not going to be as wonderful or as happy as the past was. So maybe we just secretly want to relive that over and over, which of course is not healthy. So we want to really be honest with ourselves and get to the bottom of why. Why are we resisting? Why are we holding ourselves back from change? Why are we unwilling to give up these behaviors and habits? And of course, we don't want to ignore our lifestyle habits that are negative or causing us suffering or sickness as well. And again, these are a lot easier to spot, but we do actually have to make the changes and figure out why we have resistance to making the changes. So these are things like getting enough sleep, exercising, eating well, reducing our time watching the media or being on social media, all the things that we know could dramatically improve our life if we changed, but we simply aren't doing it. So that is what we need to be thinking about over the next couple days, over the next couple weeks, what our bad habits are in all of these different areas, and if we are willing to make the necessary changes, and if not, why? Where do we need healing? What needs to still be addressed in our life? Because once we can really pinpoint that, we can make the necessary changes. We can figure out why we are holding on to these things that are negatively impacting our life. Because we have to remember, we deserve to feel well, mind, body, and soul. We deserve to be a whole and happy person. And if we are the barrier, if we are just self-sabotaging ourselves, we've got to get in there and make these changes so we can live our best life. So that is where I'm going to leave this today. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, please like it, share it with someone else who may need to hear this same message today. Also, again, if you aren't already a subscriber, please go ahead and become one. We definitely want you to stay connected. And I thank you so much for spending time with me today. Have an absolutely amazing day.